Hello. So when you open Tixl for the first time, you see this prompt. Welcome to Tixl, enter your nickname to group your projects into a namespace. So I will type my nickname and click OK. Now I need to create a new project. And for this, I need to click this plus icon. Here, I will give a name. Let's call it Basic Stuff. And click Create. Now I have this Basic Stuff project. I can open it by just clicking once on it. Here you see the default thing. We are not going to take a look at it. We are going to create stuff. So for the sake of the example, I will enable interaction overlay and I will go full screen. Okay, I want to load an image. In order to do this, I can click and hold. And I will see this. So now I can type image. And it will bring this load image. Okay, so when this load image node is here, I see the frog. So let me make some space. Here we have the path to the frog. So I can click on it in order to select something else. But I want my own image. So I will click on those three dots here. It will open the File Explorer. And here I will add a new subfolder. I will call this subfolder Bitmaps and click Create. Now I have this Bitmaps folder. Let's add some images inside. So here I have some images. I will take this guy and drag and drop it inside the Bitmaps folder. Now I should be able to open, and I see my file here. Let's double click on it, and now I see my image. I can close the File Explorer. Now let's see how to add your own 3D models. So for this, I will click and hold and type load. And here I see load OBJ. When load OBJ is on the screen, I see some information, but not the OBJ, not the 3D mesh, so I will not need to draw it. So there are multiple ways to do it. So let's click and drag the output and release the mouse button, then select Draw Mesh. Now I can see the marble player. But I want my own object. So let's pin Draw Mesh. We're here with the pin icon. Let's take a look at Load OBJ. Here I have the path to marble player. So I can click here and no result found. In this case, if you see this, you can hit backspace and it will show you all the available meshes in the Tixl by default. So I can load a cube beveled. We have this T3 logo also as well. It's really cool. But I want my own model. Once again, I will click on the three dots. Here I will add a subfolder. You don't have to add a subfolder every time, but I like to keep things tidy. Let's call it meshes. Let's hit create. Now I have my meshes folder. I can open it. It's empty. And I will bring some meshes. So here I have this one, or maybe this one. I will take this one. I will drag and drop it into meshes. Now I see it here. And now we see this guy. Oh, I made a mistake. I forgot to close the File Explorer. So I need to go back here to find the File Explorer. I want to add another mesh, and it's called Eyes. Let's bring Eyes. And let's close the File Explorer. And now I have this guy. I can select the eyes or the face. If I want to see the eyes and the face at the same time, I need to combine them. So let's select this couple of nodes, and I will hold Ctrl, then D to duplicate them. Now I have the exact same thing. So in this one, I will load the face. Now I can see the face, I can see the eyes. Let's group them together. So I will add a group. And now I will drag this one to the group. Now we see both at the same time. Let's tidy the things. Let's pin the group. Now I need a texture for each object. So in order to see a texture on an object, I need to add a set material. I will show you different ways. Here I can click on the link and select set material. Now in set material, I have this base color map. So I can click here to add a texture input. We'll use load image. And we should see the frog in his eyes here. So let's do the same with the second one. Click here, set material, base color map, load image. What a beautiful piece of art. So I have my eyes texture here. So once again, I select the load image, I click on the three dots, brings the File Explorer, and I will bring the texture for my eyes. You should see these eyes. Yeah. And here I have a map for the face. Let's bring it as well. Let's close the File Explorer. Select the set material that is connected to the face. Or we can directly select the load image. And I should find my UV map here. Yeah! I'm so lucky. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Let's add a camera. Let's pin the camera with P on the keyboard. And let's add a render target. And let's select the render target and press P on the keyboard to pin it. So now when the camera is selected, I can spin around this little guy. Okay, so now it's time to talk about something else. And if I select how to draw thing, and click here, it will pin it. And we see this. You see that this auto draw thing has this preview as well as animate and auto draw image effect. They all have those previews. And I want to do the same. So let's pin again our little guy. So in order to pack everything inside to create your own operator full of stuff, and we can call it also a project. I will select everything and then symbol definition. So select everything, right click on the selection, then select symbol definition, combine into new type. I will select my project and I can here add something extra to the namespace in order to put this project inside a folder. So my projects. Let's call it that guy. And then we click combine. Now I've packed everything inside this symbol called that guy, but we don't have a preview thumbnail. I can double click on it and then see what's inside. But I want the thumbnail. So there are different ways to reach this goal. So let's click on it. Here, I will click in the void, right click, add, output. Let's call it out. Oh, it's not happy with out. So let's call it a texture out. Then we select the type and it's a texture 2D. Select texture 2D and let's click add. Now I have my texture 2D output here. I can connect the render target to the texture out. Okay, so now when I double click, it's not gray anymore, it's purple, and we have the output, the thumbnail preview. But there's another way to reach this goal. Let's go inside, select everything, copy. Let's go outside and paste. So in order to get the same result but faster, you can add a layer 2D here. And also I will add an extra parameter. So for example, if I want to animate the group, I can click on the rotation vector 3 input, add a vector 3, and I want to be able to rotate on the y-axis. Let's add a value here. It's a bit of a mess here, so let me tidy a bit. Oh, okay, so here, let's pin the render target again. If I change this value, see that the head is rotating. So I will take this value here and drag it here. And now in order to create our operator that we can animate, we select everything here, then right click on one of the selected operator, then go to symbol definition, combine into new type. I will select my project again, and I will put it in my projects. I will call it that guy 02. Let's click combine. Now we can see I can delete layer 2D, and now my new operator has an input. Can get rid of this one. Now we have an input here that we can animate from outside. And it has an output, so we can add some effects like glitch. Yeah. Oh, we can add edge. Detect edges. Well, we can still animate this one with Anim Value. Let's make a permanent noise sign and raise the amplitude to 90 degrees. And if we double click on it, we see that we have everything here. So what if I want to add an extra input? If you want to animate to rotate on the x-axis, so we'll right click in the void, add input parameter, let's rotate x, it's a float, and then click add. We're done. And now I can connect this rotate x to the x input of vector 3. Let's go outside, and we should be able to rotate, yeah, like this, yeah. Okay, so here we have y and rotate x. So in order to stay consistent, I need to rename this parameter. So I can right click, rename input, and call it rotate y. And we don't put space, because if I put a space, the name must be a valued C# identifier, so no space. Rename input. And now we have rotate y. Can also disconnect this. Play like this. So, what's next? So now that we have this project called thatguy02, we can start working exclusively inside this for if you want to create a whole demo or whole music video. And maybe we don't need those inputs. We can delete them as we want. But I think it's important to keep this one. Let's add some music. So here in the timeline, there is this gear icon. I can click on it and click specify settings for thatguy02. And here I can select some audio sources, some external device or project soundtrack. So I will use project soundtrack. Add soundtrack composition. I click here, I see nothing because I didn't add a soundtrack yet to my assets, to my project. So I will click on the three dots here. It opens the file explorer. I need a new subfolder. Let's call it Musics. Let's click Create. Now I have my Musics folder. I will bring Windows Explorer and drag and drop a music track in my music folder, so I can open the music folder. Now my music track is here. I can double click on it. Let's close the file explorer, and now we see our music track here. Since I was clever, I added the BPM to the file name, so I don't need to find it. Let's enter the BPM 125, and there are some other parameters, but I think they are good. And now we see here the timeline got some colors, so we can increase it. And we see the music track. Okay, so now when I press play, you should be able to hear the music. And I can jump in the timeline. Okay, so now how to make audio reactive animation. So I'm going to use a popular operator called AudioReaction. Oh, we can take a look at the symbol library. Let's type audio, and we see AudioReaction. So let's drag it here. And let's take a closer look by pinning this operator. Press P on the keyboard. And let's play the music. So when using AudioReaction, you can use Ctrl-click to tweak its parameters. And there is a very cool one preset called Accumulated Spin. Let's select it. The preset is selected. You can see this small orange rectangle. And let's now animate this head. Let's make it spin on the y-axis. So we'll connect the output of AudioReaction and connect it to the y-axis of this vector 3. And let's see what is happening. Let's press play. Okay, so maybe we don't like this animation. We can use different presets or tweak the parameters here. Maybe I will use this one, this input again, and make the head rotate on the x-axis. Here in output I will select level, and maybe this amplitude is too high, so let's type 45. Let's see what we get. Nice. Okay, so now I want to take a look at something else. And since we look at the symbol library, we have this one, value to texture, and there's an example. So if you don't see the example, you can just drag like this. So I can take this example and drag it into the graph canvas, and we see this glowing line. So let's press play. So this is a nice audio reactive stuff. So let's double click on it. And we see inside there's this playback FFT, value to texture, line points, linear sample points attribute, draw points, camera, render target, glow. So I will select everything until draw point, then hold Ctrl and C to copy, double click to go outside. I don't need this one anymore. Let's just paste here, Ctrl V. Now I can take a look at the point. And maybe instead of having a line, I can replace it by a circle. So for this I will press Tab on the keyboard and type Radial Points. Let's connect it to the linear sample point attribute. Okay. Let's make the point a bit bigger. So now we have this circle. I want it to not be this way. I want to change its axis. So right now the main axis is the Z axis. Let's enable the gizmo. Here you have the gizmo, toggle gizmo and floor grid. So we can see how this circle is in the space. So let's click on the radial point, and here we have an axis parameter. So this parameter, if you use only 0, 0 for this is X, Y, Z. So we see that the Z is 1. So if I set the Z to 0, we see nothing, and then let's make the Y axis to 1. So now the circle is on the floor, like this. Okay, so I want to add it to my original scene. Let's close the symbol library so we have more space. And to add it, there is this group. So I could connect it to this group. Let's connect it here. And let's see by selecting render target. Okay, so now I see the circle is around the head and it's a bit small, so I want to make the circle bigger. I will select radial point, increase its radius. Let's make it 3. Nice. So now I want to move the camera, but I can't. I always have to select the camera in order to be able to move around. But you can go here in the output view toolbar, and here you can read auto, and instead of auto I will select camera. So now it's locked to the camera, and I should be able to select radial point and still be able to spin the camera around. So let's see what we get. Okay, so since I've connected draw points to this group, and this group is animating the whole head, I need another group in order to separate the points from this group. So I will click on the connection line and type and select group. Then I will drag this connection and bring it to my new group. So now when I press play, the points are separated from this group. And these groups can rotate everything. So if I do like this, okay. So maybe instead of points, I want something else. I want cubes. So for this purpose, what I'm going to do is to use, I can use here, instead of draw points, I will use draw mesh, draw mesh at points. And draw mesh at points, we have this little warning here. It requires a mesh. So let's add a mesh. Press tab, cube, cube mesh. I'll connect it here. Let's replace draw points by draw mesh. Here, when I connect over another connection, you see that the old one is red or purplish. Okay, so we replaced the point by the cube. And we see this, so the cube is too big. So let's reduce its scale, maybe 0.25. And maybe we have too much points. So radial points as a count parameter. I will set to 32. Okay. And let's see what's happening. That's really cool. But instead of moving the cube up and down, I want to stretch the cubes. So here in linear sample points attribute, we have red for Y. And instead of for Y, I will select stretch Y. Okay. Ooh, that's interesting. So let's if I increase the red factor. So it looks like the cubes are not oriented as I expected. So how can we solve this? We need to use a very helpful operator called visualize points. So let's connect radial points to visualize points, and let's pin it. I will also go to its parameter and increase the axis size and maybe the line thickness so we can see a bit better. So what do we have here? We have the orientation of each point. And we see that the y-axis, which is the green one, is looking in this direction. The z-axis is looking up, and the x-axis is here. So, I need the y-axis to look up. For this purpose, I will go to Radial Point, and we go at the bottom of its parameters, and here we have orientation axis. So x, y, z, and an orientation angle. So I need to spin around the x-axis in order to make the y-axis look up. So this is the x-axis. I will set it to 1, set the z-axis to 0, and now I can use the orientation angle to turn. This 90 degrees. Okay, perfect. And let's see. Let's go back to our render target. Let's spin it. It's already looking better. Okay, but my cubes are all flat when there's no music. So I can go back to linear sample points attribute. And here we have this red offset parameter. Okay, so now I can decide of the base height of my cube. Let's keep it like this. what next? Maybe I want to make this circle spin. So here I can add I have two options. I can either transform the points or transform this whole thing. So let's transform the whole thing. So I will add transform. Let's connect the draw mesh at point to transform, and let's replace this input. So now with transform, while having the gizmo enabled, I can select this little cross and select rotate, and I can spin. So we can spin on the y-axis. So what about we just make it spin all the time? Let's add an Anim Value. And this Anim Value, I need to connect it to this rotation, the y-axis. Once again, I will need a vector 3. So I can connect the output of the Anim Value to vector 3. I will go over vector 3, because if I go here, it will connect it directly to the x-axis, and I want the y-axis. We'll release the mouse button and select the y-axis. So the cube are moving very slightly. So let's just set the amplitude to 360, and it's too fast. So I can change the rate to .125. You can also do like this by holding Control. We can tweak a bit the animation. That's not what I want. Maybe I see Control, drag up and down. So full speed. Let's keep it like this, and I will reset the bias. What is also really cool, we could change the color of those cubes. So let's make some space. I can alter the color of the cubes with, I think it's with map point attributes. And here in map point attributes we have this right colors, and we have a gradient here, so I can click on this color stop and choose the color. Oops. Let's make this one like this. And of course you can go crazy. Oh, I like those colors. Let's keep it like this. So the gradient is very powerful, is a very powerful feature. We can right click on it and we have different presets. I like my colors, so I will keep them. I can right click and reverse. Right click and choose a different interpolation. So right now it's linear. I can choose hold, and when it's on hold, I can drag the stop like this. Can we have something more? It's not moving enough. Maybe if we go to value to texture and increase, okay, no, let's reduce the pow. I don't know what pow really stands for, but let's try with gain 2. Okay, so maybe pow was smoothing the value in a way. I don't know. Not sure. Let's go back to linear sample point attribute, and I will set my red factor to 3. Okay, this is a more dynamic scene. It's not the best piece of art, I guess. But the whole purpose of this video is to showing you some stuff. And you will create the best art. Like this, it looks fun. Okay, since I've added this Anim Value, we see the cube spinning all the time. And if you want to stop this, because it's not matching exactly to the timeline. If I go back in the timeline, we can disable this always animated thing by clicking here on the idle motion. So if I click on it, it will disable it. And then now if I press play, let's jump to the beginning. We should see exactly how it will look when we start from the beginning of the video. Also, there is one important thing to know about Anim Value, is that we see this 1 divided by 16. And for example, here if we take a look at the timeline, here we have bars. It's the timeline format. So we can select between bars, frames, and seconds. But I like to keep it on bars. And if I go back to Anim Value, or maybe I should add something else. Let's add something else. Let's add a torus. Torus, I can't spell right. Torus mesh. Let's add a draw mesh. Let's connect this draw mesh to our new group. And let's change the look of this torus. I will set the thickness to something like this and increase the radius. Nice. Let's tidy the things a bit. To make things even more tidy, we can select a group and Alt Shift and A to add an annotation. Of course, I don't want the eyes inside this group for this annotation. Now I can move the annotation like this. And when I move the annotation, it moves what's inside. Also, I'm not a fan of this annotation look, so we can go inside Tixl menu, settings, and here you have the color theme editor. We'll go at the bottom, and here we see annotation background and annotation outline. I like the annotation outline, so we'll select this one, the alpha channel, and set it to 1. And what is really cool with annotations, if you select it, it has parameters, and we can set a color. Let's make green. Hey, why I don't see the... Okay, so let's go back to the settings, theme. Okay, it has Luma, saturation, so I think if I set the saturation to 1, yeah, this is how I like it. And if you want to have this look next time you open Tixl, you go back to settings, color theme, and you go at the top, and here you can type you can give it a name, like my colors. Type your author name, so FMK, and click save. So next time you open Tixl, you will see those colors. There are plenty of other colors you can tweak, like the scroll bar handle, for example. Let's make it white, yellow, and remove now the scroll bar is more visible. Also, I like the Tixl look, so I think it's background active, and I like it. Yeah, this is how I like it. And don't forget to save. Of course, you can always go back to default settings. There's also a bright one. Yeah, sorry for burning your eyes. Dark contrast, default. Let's go back to my colors. Okay, so let's have a deep dive into AnimValue. So I put that torus mesh here, and let's add a transform. Oh no, because I want to change the radius of so maybe instead of using a transform here after the draw mesh, I will use a transform. I will transform the mesh itself. So let's get rid of this transform. We can shake to disconnect, and let's add a transform here. Transform mesh. Or maybe I don't need the transform, I need only to change the radius. Yeah, let's get rid of the transform mesh and only act on the radius. So I will use add Anim Value, connect it to radius. Okay, so now the radius is way too small. because the value of radius is this. So I can re-enable the idle motion. And when we talk about BPM, this is the, with anim value set to 1, the rate to 1, this is 1 bar. So let's disable idle motion, let's go back to the beginning, and we should see. So if I'm right, here we are at 0, and we will be at 1 when the bar is at 1. So let's try. Yes. So this anim value ramp is going at its amplitude to 1. So here the value is 0 and here the value is 1. So I can remap this value. Let's add remap. And now in remap we have range in min 0, which is right, range in max, which is 1. So let's set the range out min. Let's go back to the beginning. The range out min to this size. Okay, and let's set the range out max to, so if I want to see. Let's drag in the timeline. If I hold shift while dragging in the timeline, the playhead will snap to those grids. So I was expecting to see the range, out max, but that didn't update. Okay, so but you get the point. So let's set to 2 and like this. So if I want to be on the beat, is there a position where there's a lot of beat here? I will set anim value to 4. Let's see. So maybe we can, and there are all a bunch of shapes. Let's try kick saw. It's in the opposite way. You can trick the bias like this. And so if we don't want to kick on the beat, we can reduce the rate. What a piece of art. Also remember that we can add material to a draw mesh. So let's select set material. And here for the base color map I will add a linear gradient. Now we see this, so we can have fun. Let's set this color to something else. Like this, and we can tweak. Use ping pong, repeat, then reduce the width. we can rotate. Oh, I can maybe make a kind of rainbow. Yeah. Oh, we need to check the size mode. No. Align to width. I'm a bit lost. Why I don't see the rainbow? If we change the offset like this. Or maybe I'm confused because this linear gradient is rectangular. Let's set the resolution to something square. Okay, so since we are using ping pong, maybe I won't use ping pong. Yeah, it looks better. So we have beautiful rainbow torus. And let's have fun with offset. For this one I will add, again, Anim Value. And let's see what we get. So it's hard to see what's happening, so let's disable this one for a few minutes. Okay, so I'm happy. I think this video is way too long, so it's time to do one last thing. Let's export a video. I won't export the whole track. Let's export just a piece. So we drag the playhead like this while holding shift. Let's bring it here. Or maybe let's bring it here. Yeah, here. And here I can set a loop. So now it's looping. And let's take a look at render to file. If you don't see it, you can go here and enable it. And I want to export to the render range. It's custom. So if I set the starting bar and the ending bar here, it will render this part. But I want to render the loop only, so I will select loop. Now you see bar 44 to 48. Okay. Let's keep the frame per second to 60. And here I will call my video end of the, yeah, that's a stupid name, my video. And don't forget to add the extension MP4. I want the audio, and let's click start render. Okay, so now I should be able to find my video since I've kept this path. It should be in my project folder. So here I have my project folder, which is in the documents folder, Tixl. Here is the basic stuff project. And we can see here render, and the video is here. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have questions, don't hesitate to add them in the comments. You should join the Discord channel, Tixl Discord channel. You can find a lot of useful stuff, and you will find direct help from the Tixl users. And voila, bye bye.